Welcome, and thank you for joining the Business Online Banking Overview Customer Webinar. This presentation will provide you with an overview of Community First Bank's Business Online Banking application. This presentation will highlight the different features and functionality available to you in Business Online Banking. Demonstrations will be performed in the system, giving you a real-time view of just how easy it is to navigate in the application. The features and services listed will be discussed. We'll cover the welcome page, alerts, administration, reporting features, transfers, stop payments, wires, and ACH. The wire and ACH information is optional. If your business is using these additional features, please remain in the session to learn more about these topics. Your ACH templates will be in place on October the 30th on the current Business Online Banking application. To get to Community First Bank's Business Online Banking site, one option is to type it directly into your browser using the URL at the top of the screen. You may also access Business Online Banking via Community First Bank's website, which is www.befirstbank.com. You're presented with a log-on screen next. Here you're going to enter your company ID, followed by your user ID, and select Continue. You'll then be presented with the one-time security code prompt. Select Continue with Security Code. After clicking the Continue with Security Code button, you will be presented with an option to receive the one-time security code either by phone call or text message. If you choose to receive the code by phone, you're going to enter the code presented there on the screen onto your mobile device, then select Phone Call Completed. If you choose to receive the code via text message, enter the code presented on your mobile device, then click Submit on the screen. Upon your first login, you're going to enter your temporary password that was provided for you. Then you'll be prompted to create a permanent password. You must follow the password requirements on the screen. Confirm the password and click Submit. Here is your Community First Bank's welcome page you will see after you have successfully logged into Business Online Banking. The welcome page offers information, links, and tasks that are all easily accessible and contained in various panels. Each user has the ability to customize the panel based on their needs. It's very easy to add, customize, and remove the available panels. For this webinar, I will be using a demonstration environment. Remember, everyone is required to conduct out-of-band authentication at first login. Allow me just a moment to navigate to my demonstration environment. As I mentioned, I am in a demonstration site. Just as you saw the Community First Bank's welcome page, here's the welcome page in this site. When you first log in, your welcome page is only going to contain the standard panels. This Add Info Panels option on the far right will give you the ability to customize the panels that appear on your welcome page. The panels that are available to you are dependent upon your entitlements. It's very easy to add additional panels. You simply choose the Add Now option. It loads, then you can return to your dashboard, also known as your welcome page. Once the panels load, you should see the new panel that was just added. We mentioned the ability to customize the look and feel. You can drag and drop the panels into place. If you hover over the title bar, it drags and snaps into place. The minus sign allows you to collapse the panel. The plus sign will expand. The downward facing triangle will delete the panel or print the information inside of the panel. I'd like to take a look at this important account balance panel. It's one of the most important. The accounts are here by account type. You have the account name followed by the last 4 digits of the account number. You also have the available balance. This available balance is a clickable link. Once selected, you'll receive a pop-up window that provides you with the available balance as well as the accessible balance. You can either hit close at the bottom or the X to return back to the welcome page. If you select the last 4 digits of the account number, you'll be taken into the account activity where you can view the intraday transactions. I'll navigate back to the welcome page. At the bottom of the important account balance panel, like many of the others, you have some options to edit the information that's displayed. I'll select the option now. The information up top tells me that I can select up to 7 accounts for each account type. So I can have 7 checking, 7 savings, 7 COD, and 7 loans if available. I can change up my selections by placing a check mark in the box and deselecting one of the others. I cannot exceed the 7 accounts for each account type. I select Save, and it will update the account information for me. If I happen to need more than the 7 accounts that are allowed, you can add an unlimited amount of important account balance panels. Let's talk about some basic navigation. You have 5 tabs across the top: Welcome, Reports, Transfers and Payments, Account Services, and Administration. Notice when I hover over the topics, I have a menu of subtopics. The sign out option is on the far right of the screen. Let's take a look at this Recent Alerts and Messages panel. Notice the red text and red exclamation. These are bulletins that have been published by the bank. Below your bulletins, you'll find your messages and alerts. To review the information in the Messages or Alerts panel, simply choose the subject. You'll receive a pop-up window that has the message or alert details. At the bottom of this panel, you have the option to manage your alerts. There are 3 different types of alerts. You have your account alerts, non-account, and custom. Let's explore the account alerts first. I'm going to select a checking account to get a good amount of alerts here. The alerts are categorized by type. You have balance and activity, transfer and payment, account recon and positive pay, stop payments, wire transfer. I'll go back towards the top and let's talk about some of the alert options. Let's say I would like to turn on the check presented alert. I have my alert subject, the send to option, which is the destination, and then I have action buttons on the far right to add, change, or delete. I'll select add. I'll choose my destination, which can be an email address or a text number for text messaging. I can add the check number. This notifies me when this check number is presented. Add alert, highlights in yellow, fades black to gray. You can tell which alerts are turned on by the check mark indicators. Let's switch over to the non-account alerts. These alerts include things like email address, phone number changes, password changes. Most of these alerts are standard and cannot be turned off. The last alert type are the custom alerts. These can be used for reminders, things you would like to be alerted of on a regular basis. Let's take a look at the one that's here. The alert subject is test payroll. The message says, please pay payroll today. I have it sent to 2 different email addresses. It's on a schedule. It appears every other week. The next send on date is the 26th of the month, and it's set to continue indefinitely. I'm not going to save because I didn't make any changes, but let's navigate to the welcome page. This time we're going to take a look at the calendar. When the calendar loads, you may see green dates that are shaded. Anything that appears shaded in green has some type of schedule activity or alert that day. If I select that date, I can see the schedule request up top, and I can also see the custom alert. There's where we'll find that test payroll alert. The next thing I would like to discuss is the Administration tab. If I hover over Administration, there's a section at the bottom that says Company Administration. Only company admin users have access to this section. The first thing we're going to explore is managing users. It's very, very important that company admins sign on during the preview period to ensure that all employees have access to everything necessary to perform their job functions. company administrators will come over with a fully functional profile. That means they have roles, entitlements, access to accounts and services. It's their responsibility to give those same roles, entitlements, accounts, and services to the rest of the employees at the company. Let's take a look at this process. Under Managing Existing Users, you can see me there as the admin. I need to complete the profile for the rest of the users listed. Okay, we'll start with Mary Customer by choosing her user ID. I'm going to verify that her user information and contact information is correct. If I need to make any changes, I can use the hypertext links on the right. I'll begin by assigning roles for Mary. The first role allows this user to set up templates. The second role allows this user to approve transactions. And the third role grants this user administration privileges. So an admin user can grant those same privileges to another user. We'll save the changes and return to the user profile. Go down a bit further, then you have your services and accounts. We'll choose to edit those services and accounts. So there are 43 services available. It's my job as the company admin to determine what services and accounts each user needs access to. I'll go down the list. I have the service name, I have a short description, and then I have action buttons on the far right that will allow me to add, change, or remove. So you'll go through each one of the services. I'll stop and take a look at the multiple account transfer service. Once I select change, I can see all of the accounts that are entitled for multiple account transfer. What I'm going to do now is determine which accounts Mary needs access to perform her job functions. So I have the account description, the account number, and the routing number. This next column allows me to set up multiple account transfers from this account. The next column is to this account, and the last column allows me to approve multiple account transfers for this account. The check marks directly underneath these headings will give this user access to everything below it. Once you've made your selections, save your changes. So we would go through each service and account. Once that's complete, we save the changes. We return to the user profile. The next step in the process is to assign limits to this user. All of the services that require limits will be listed below. We'll choose Edit to begin with ACH. At the very top of this page, this user has a daily limit assigned. If I need to view the company limits, just to be sure that I'm in compliance, I can use the hypertext link here. So we've given her $100,000 for the ACH service overall. That's an accumulative limit for the day. We can be more specific and add service limits. So for the different ACH services, I can apply a daily service limit. It looks like there's a $10,000 CCD collection limit and $100,000 for external transfers. This limits her to this amount per day for this service. If you would like to add additional limits, you simply remove the check mark and add your dollar amount in the user daily service limit box. If we scroll down a bit further, these are all of the accounts that Mary has access to for ACH. We can also apply limits per account. So it looks like the South account ending in 1166 has a $25,000 limit for Mary. So she cannot exceed this per day for this ACH account. Once we're complete, we've saved the changes and we're taken back to the user profile. The View User Profile, let's scroll down to the bottom and we'll pick up with wire edits. Set up the same way. At the very top, you have the user daily limit. You have the company limits here as well. And then you have the maximum daily service limits. So for the different wire services, domestic or USD international, you can place limits for the users here as well. If we scroll down a bit further, the wire account limits allow you to be a little bit more specific than ACH. Not only can we add a limit for the account itself, you can also add a transaction limit. So this is saying for the South account ending in 1166, Mary can only initiate transactions that do not exceed $5,000. She can also use this account for $15,000 per day. Remember, if you'd like to make any edits here, remove the check mark, enter the dollar amount. Scroll down, save our changes here, and return to the user profile. Once all of these fields have been completed and you've verified the access that's been given and the limits that were assigned, this user is ready to go. You'll provide them with their user ID and temporary password. They'll sign in with the temp password and create a permanent password. They're fully functional, they're ready to go in the system and perform their day-to-day job functions. Let's return to user administration. So once we have all of our users in the system, fully functional, profiles are built out, let's say you onboard a new employee and you have to add that user from scratch. You'll create new user. We'll give the user a user ID, letters and numbers, at least 4 characters in length, assign a temporary password, 8 to 12 characters, letters and numbers, first and last name of the user, primary email address is required, secondary email and additional information are optional fields. We'll have to add a phone number. We suggest adding the mobile number. This will allow the user to be able to do the one-time security code via phone call and text message. Let's continue. The next option is to copy an existing user. This is optional. If you do not copy an existing user, we'll have to go through the process of assigning roles from scratch, adding all of the services and accounts, and adding limits from scratch for this user. The copy user feature takes away some of the work for us. We'll choose select user, and let's say our brand new user, Lisa Client, has the same exact job title as Mary Customer. They perform the same job functions. I can copy Mary's profile over to our new user, Lisa. I'll choose copy user. Notice that the user roles populated for me. We'll go continue. Up next are the services and accounts. So all of the user, Mary Customer, profile that we copied have been transferred over here to Lisa, our new employee. I can certainly go through here and make changes according to Lisa's job functions. If no changes need to be made, I scroll down to the bottom, continue with the workflow. Up next will be limits. It begins with ACH. If Lisa has the same ACH limits, service limits, and account limits, I can leave them just as they are, or I can make changes as necessary. We'll continue. Up next are the wire limits. Same thing here. I can make changes if necessary, or stick with everything that was copied. We'll continue, and on the next screen, we'll verify all of the information that was entered for Lisa, our new employee. If everything checks out, we'll select submit. The user is added successfully. You can provide them with their user ID and password, and they're ready to sign in and begin performing functions in the business online banking application. Let's return to user administration. So also as the company admin, you may have to reset the password for users or unlock a user. So the first thing I'm going to do is lock out one of my users so we can see exactly how that will appear. I'll lock the user by placing a check mark there, save the changes, then I'll return to the user profile and user administration. So one of the employees, Ken Client, says that he's locked out. I'll access business online banking, come to the company administration, manage users section, and select system access. I can see here that Ken is locked. If Ken does not know his password, I can enter a temporary password. I'll confirm that password, save the changes. Ken is then active, and he has to begin using that temporary password. He'll create a permanent password, and he's good to go. But let's say that Ken knows what the password is. He just miskeyed it a couple times. He doesn't want to change his password. That's fine. I can still assist. I'll remove the check mark from the user lockbox, save the changes, return to user administration, and let's see if the status was updated. Ken is now active again. Okay, so just as a reminder, the existing users are going to be migrated over to Business Online Banking. So everybody comes over. Remember, the company admin is going to be fully functional, but it's their responsibility to complete the profiles for the rest of the users. All users will use the same username as the previous application. The temporary password is uppercase B, lowercase e, uppercase B, the number 1, plus the first 4 digits of your user ID, minus any special characters. So that's managing users. Sticking with the administration tab, let's take a look at self-administration. Each user will have access to this section. We'll begin with changing a password. Each user has the ability to change their password once a day. The system resets itself at 12:01 Eastern Time, a.m. You'll have to know the current password. You'll enter your new password, confirm your new password, save your changes. That password is ready to be used at the next sign-on. Also under self-administration, I can manage my contact preferences. I can update my email address. I can have 2 addresses on file at any time. I may also have the ability to update my phone number. There's an option to manage your favorites. Favorites kind of give you easy access to some of the services that you use most frequently in the Business Online Banking application. You can have up to 5 favorites at a time. It's very easy to manage these favorites. To delete, you simply choose Delete Favorite. If you delete something in error, it's very easy to add it back. At the bottom, there's a favorite list here. You go through the list, choose the favorite that you'd like to add, select Add Favorite. We'll return to the welcome page for just a moment, this time giving our attention to the Shortcuts panel. This panel houses the favorites. So once I sign in, I'll locate this panel. If I'm trying to easily get to my balance deposit account report, I simply choose the name and it takes me to the report. I'll hover over reports and we can see what some of our options are. Reports in Business Online Banking are a means to view accounts and activity. I'm going to show a few of the many reports that you may use. I'll choose Activity. The first thing I should do is choose my output. How do I want to view this information? On the screen, in a CSV file, or PDF perhaps? Next, I need to choose the accounts I want to view inside of the report. If I have a lot of accounts there to choose from, I can sort by account type or recently used accounts. I can choose the box next to the description to select every account in the list. Next, I select the date range. These reports, you can pull 90 days of activity at once. So that's 3-month increments. If you need a longer date range, you'll have to run multiple reports. I can do a specific date or a date range again of up to 3 months, previous business day, or since my last download if I'm using the QuickBooks software. I'll stick with the date range. I can choose transaction types. I can either do all transactions, all credits, all debits, or I can do a selected group of credits and debits. Another option is to run the report with certain transaction codes. This way I can select the codes from the list of transaction codes. I can control-click to select multiples. For this exercise, I'm going to go with all transactions. At the bottom of the page, there are some advanced options. You can decide how you want the information sorted on your report. Account number, description, ABA number and account number, or ABA number and description. I've included the transaction details, subtotals for the selected transaction groups. I'm also displaying totals by day for the date range. And lastly, I can perform an advanced search inside of the report. I can search by amount, range of amounts, a check number, or a range of check numbers and description. Let's generate the report. At the very top, I have my report criteria. Then I have the hypertext links that will allow me to show certain types of transactions, add transactions, or print. There are my subtotals, and then it goes into the account activity. I have the post date, the reference or check number, any additional reference information, the image column, the description of the transaction, the debit or credit amount, and then the calculated ending balance after the transaction. Let's take a look at the check images. So there's the camera icon. If I choose the camera icon, it loads the image viewer. At the bottom of this image viewer, I can save, print, zoom in, zoom out. I can also view the back of the check. Let's also take a look at the deposit images. Again, I choose the camera icon. It displays the deposit ticket, which has 4 items. It also displays a report at the bottom. I can choose the check numbers here as well to view the front and back of the check. Okay, that's the activity report. Next, we'll look at the balance report. If I hover over reports, there's the balance deposit accounts report. I'd also like to point out that depending on what service you're in, you'll have a quick link menu on your left. I can choose balance deposit accounts from here as well. So the first thing we need to do again is choose our output. I'll leave it set to screen. I'll select a couple of accounts to view for this balance report, and I'll also choose my date range. I have it sorted by account number, and I've selected to receive all information, which means I want all of my balances on this report. We'll generate the report. And here I have my balance by the date range that was selected. You have all of the balances that were selected, including the current and available balance. Up next, let's take a look at the transfer service. There are 2 types of transfers. You have internal and multiple. Internal is used from one Community First Bank account to another Community First Bank account. The multiple is used to transfer from one to many or many to one Community First Bank account. Let's begin with the internal transfer. I'll select an account from the From list, a different account to the To list, enter my dollar amount. The description field is optional, and then I select the frequency. I can do it today only, one time, weekly, bi-weekly, twice a month on the 15th, monthly on the last day, 3 months, 6 months, both on the last day, yearly, and I have a custom option which will allow me to choose a date from a calendar. Let's go with weekly. Since we're putting it on a schedule, we have to select the next send-on date and when we would like for it to end. We can continue indefinitely or enter a certain number of occurrences. Let's continue. I'll verify the information for the transfer. If I need to make any edits, there's an option on the right to edit this request. So depending on my entitlement, I may only have the option to submit for approval. If I have the option to approve, I will also see this button as well. Let's go ahead and submit for approval. So if the approving party has their alert set up properly, they receive notification that they have a transfer pending their approval. They'll sign into Business Online Banking, navigate to Transfers and Payments, and choose Approve Transfers Internal. They'll locate the transfer that requires their approval, select Continue, and they'll transmit or approve here. Okay, let's have a look at the multiple account transfer. Again, under Transfers and Payments, we'll select Transfer Money, Manage Templates. So the multiple account transfer does require a template. Let's go ahead and add a template. We'll give our template a name, and we'll choose our action. If it's debit, that means I'm debiting my main account and I'm crediting the detailed accounts below. If we choose credit, I'll be crediting my main account and debiting the detailed accounts below, hence the one-to-many and many-to-one. We'll stick with debit. I'll choose my main account. I have to enter a maximum transfer amount. I'll enter the detailed accounts below. I'll add an additional one since it's a multiple. So this means with the maximum transfer amount entered, I can transfer up to $1,000 per detailed account. I've entered my amounts. I'm going to add the template. The template was created successfully. I can begin using this template. So once I have templates in place, I'll go to Transfer Money, Manage Templates, locate the template that was just created by choosing the radio button, click Continue. Remember not to exceed the $1,000 per account. Select Continue. Verify the details. Depending on my entitlement, I'll either submit for approval or transmit. This time I'll transmit. The transaction has been transmitted successfully. That's your transfer service. Now let's take a look at stop payments. This one is located under Account Services. We'll choose Stop Check Payments. You will have the ability to stop one check or a range of checks up to 49 checks in a range. We'll first choose the account that the check was drawn on. The reason field is optional. We're stopping a single check in this example. We'll enter the check number, the date on the check, payee and amount fields are both optional. We'll continue. I'll verify the details of the stop payment request and submit. Okay, let's perform a new request. This time we'll do a range of checks. Again, we'll choose the account for the check. Select Stop a range of checks. I'll enter the first check number in the range and the last check number in the range, not to exceed 49. Select Continue. Verify the details of the stop. Submit the request. You will also have the ability to view your existing stops. From the Quick Links menu on the left, I'll select Existing Stops. I have to run a report to view all of the stops, so I'll choose all of my accounts. I'll choose a date range of about a month and generate the report. Here I have a list of my existing check payment stops. I have the check numbers, the account, the payee and amount information if provided, the date the stop was submitted, as well as the date it's set to expire. I also have the ability to cancel the stops. If I choose Cancel, I verify the stop cancellation and cancel stop payment. Okay, that's your stop service. Allow me just a moment to navigate back to our presentation. For those that would like to understand the wire and ACH features of business online banking, please remain on the line. For those that are leaving the presentation at this time, thank you for attending. Just a reminder, please contact Community First Bank Support Representative using the listed telephone number. Now I will continue with the wire and ACH features. Allow me a moment to get back to our demonstration site. Okay, let's pick up with wire. We'll hover over transfers and payments. Let's go over to the wire service, which is now automated. There are two options available in order to process your wire request. You can do a one-time entry where the information is not available for future use, or you can use a template. These can be reused in the future. We'll begin with the one-time request. All wires and ACH transactions created through business online banking are required to be performed under dual control. Out-of-band authentication is the preferred method of step-up authentication at Community First Bank for ACH and wire approvals. I'll demonstrate this step-up authentication once we get to the ACH service. Again, this is a one-time wire request. So we'll choose our wire type, domestic. We're not going to give this a name because then it becomes a template for future use. Let's select our account for the wire, the send on date from the calendar, and let's enter the amount for the wire. Select continue. Our debit information is up top. We can always edit by choosing the hypertext link on the right. Now we need to enter the required recipient information. First up is the routing number. If you know the routing number, you can plug it in and validate that information, which populates the bank name and address. If you're not sure what the routing number is, let's do a bank ID search. You have three options to search by. You can search by the name of the bank, state and city of the bank, and routing number. The name and routing number allows you to do partial searches. You have to at least enter 2 digits. So we'll enter the bank's name. I've removed the exact match. Click search, identify the bank, choose the button, add the bank. Notice that the bank's name and address populated. I need to enter the recipient's account number. Up next, the recipient name. Address line 1 and address line 2 can be used for the city, state, and zip code. The recipient address line 3 and additional information box are both optional. There's no need for intermediary information, so I'll go down and validate the wire initiator information, which is my company information. I'll select continue, verify the wire details. If everything is correct, depending on my entitlement, I'll either submit for approval or approve this wire transaction. I'll go ahead and approve. If I submit for approval, remember their approving party is going to receive an alert letting them know that there's a wire request that requires their attention. They'll sign into Business Online Banking, navigate to Transfers and Payments, and they'll go to the Approved Wires page. They can locate the wire that requires their approval, select that wire, continue, verify the details of the wire, and approve here. Now let's take a look at wiring money via a template. From Transfers and Payments, I'll go over to Wire, down to Wire Templates. At the top of this page, there's an option for me to add a template. Let's give the template a name. Wire type will stick with domestic, and we'll choose our account for this template. Let's continue. This form looks exactly the same as the one time. The only difference is we've given it a name, so it's saved for future use. I'll go ahead and plug in the routing number and validate. Enter the account information again. Enter the recipient name and address. Be making sure that I enter the city, state, and zip code on address line 2. No intermediary information. Verify wire initiator info. Add the template. The template has been added successfully. So when I'm ready to begin initiating wire requests via templates, I'll choose Wire Money via Template. I'll choose the template name from the list. I can always view the details by choosing this hypertext link. I'll enter the amount for this wire, any additional information, frequency. I can put my wire request on a schedule as well. I'll do today only this time and continue. Again, I'll review the wire information, either submit for approval or transmit depending on my entitlement. I'll approve the wire. Okay, that's requesting wire via template. The wire service also has the option to wire money via multiple templates. So this is for you company users that initiate several wires throughout the day. So I'm presented with 5 line items to begin with. I'll choose the first template from the list. My details are here via the hypertext link. I'm going to enter the first amount for my wire and choose the send on date from the calendar. I can choose the same template, a different template. I can enter a totally different amount for this wire and choose a totally different date, or I can choose the same day. If I need more than 5 requests, I choose add more requests, and I'm presented with 5 additional line items. You can send an unlimited amount of wire requests from this service. Once you have all of your wire details entered, you'll select continue. Verify the details from your multiple wires and approve, transmit, or submit for approval. Okay. This portion of the service just makes it easier if you have multiple requests to send. Up next, we're going to explore the ACH service. Also found under transfers and payments, we'll navigate to ACH, make ACH payment, manage templates. Under ACH, we see options to make ACH payment as well as collect money via ACH. An example of why we're using ACH payment service. Maybe we're sending money out, such as a payroll. An example for the collection of money via ACH. Maybe we need to collect dues or fees. Just like wire, you'll have the option to make a one-time ACH payment or collection or create a template for future use. We'll begin by creating a template. Make ACH payment, manage templates. We'll choose create a template. We're going to give our template a name, call it payroll template. So we're selecting PPD payment. We'll choose our company name and ID. We'll give it a description. I'm going to keep it very simple and say payroll. We'll choose our debit account and our maximum transfer amount. Let's continue. So we have the header information up top. We can edit that information by choosing the link on the right. Now we need to add the destination account or our employee's account information. I already have a routing number copied. I'll enter an account number, choose the account type, enter the recipient name. The detailed ID field can be used for employee ID numbers. Default amount is optional. If this employee is salaried, I can go ahead and enter the amount she's set to be paid, or I can use this field every time I use the template. The additional information box is also optional, but it can be used for addendum or note information. Let's add at least one more employee record here at the bottom. Choose the account, enter the employee's name, and I'll leave theirs blank. Let's say they're an hourly employee. Let's go ahead and save our template. Let me point one more thing out. The maximum transfer amount was $6,000. That means I can pay each employee up to $6,000. Okay? Let's save the template. The template has been saved. Now we're ready to send money using this template. We'll choose Make ACH Payment, Manage Templates, locate our template, choose the radio button, and continue. The header information is up top. I'll choose my effective date. Scroll down. Remember, I can't exceed $6,000 per detailed account. So I can pay him up to $6,000. I'll continue, verify the payment information, and submit for approval. My approving party is going to receive their alert. They'll sign in, navigate to transfers and payments, go over to approve ACH transactions, locate the transaction that requires their approval, continue. They can choose the account information to get the details of this ACH payment. We'll go back, and here's where they're going to approve or transmit. Okay? Now let's take a look at the one-time ACH payment. I'll go back to Make ACH Payment, Manage Template. There's an option at the very top to send money without a template. In this case, we're not going to give the template a name. We'll choose the request type of CCD payment this time. We'll choose the company name and ID. Give it a description. It's a water bill payment. I'll choose the debit account and enter the maximum transfer amount and select my effective date. I'll continue. Next, I need to enter the destination account for my payment. I'll enter the routing number, enter the account number, account type, name for the payment, and amount. Not to exceed the $500 maximum transfer amount. I choose Continue, verify the details for the payment, and submit for approval. Okay, so the one time was very similar to the templated-based payment. The only difference is I didn't give it a name, therefore it's not available for future use. Let's explore collecting money via ACH. Okay, so let's just say I'm the president of the homeowner association. I need to collect the HOA dues. We'll look at a template that's already been created. I've selected the template name so I can see the header information. It's a CCD collection. I'm collecting dues. My maximum transfer amount is $500. I only have one source account that I'll be debiting the $500 from. So this works just like the payment service, except in the opposite direction. The funds are being debited from the source account and credited to my Community First Bank account. That's your collection service. The next thing we need to explore is uploading ACH transactions. Transfers and payments, ACH, upload ACH transactions. I'll browse for the NASA file on my PC, upload the file. Once it's located, it automatically takes me to the File Upload Status Approved Files page. The system is going to run an authorization or verification process. This may take a few minutes to update the status. Once the status is updated, it's either going to confirm it and move it down to be approved, or it bumps it down to the rejected file section at the bottom of the page. If the file is rejected for a formatting error, you're going to choose the file name. It's going to show you the first error in the file. You'll be able to make corrections to the error, upload the file again, and go through the verification process once more. If there are any additional errors, it's going to stop at each error and have you to correct it and upload the file. Once the file is error-free, it places it here to be approved. So the approving party then receives their alert, letting them know that there is a file requiring their approval. They'll select the file from the list and continue. From this page, I can view the file details by choosing the file name. I can see the SEC codes that were included, total debit and credit amounts. I can also view the transactions inside of the upload by choosing the hyperlink. Once I'm ready to approve, I choose Transmit, and here's the step-up authentication process. I'll either choose the phone call or text message method, continue, complete the authorization, choose phone call completed, and that places my approval on the transaction. Okay, that's the file upload portion. That actually concludes my presentation. Allow me just a moment to navigate back. Thank you for attending today. Just a reminder, Community First Bank support is always available to support you. Please contact them by using the telephone number listed. Thanks again.